Welcome to Global Risk Community Chat. Today our guest is Carol Williams. It's very nice to see you again, Carol. Welcome to our chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, likewise. So for those of you who may not have seen our previous podcast, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So my name, obviously, is Carol Williams. I am the CEO and principal consultant for Strategic Decision Solutions, a consulting firm that helps companies with strategy and risk management.
Thank you for sharing that. So what topic you like to share with us today?
I want to talk about the importance of an organization's mission, vision, and values, and the impact that it has on a company's strategic plan and the risks to the company if they don't align those elements together.
So it's a very crucial topic that is potentially quite outlooked, I imagine. So then let's get into it. So what are some key things to look out for?
So a lot of times an organization will have a mission statement posted on a wall, occasionally put on the internal website as a nice reminder, but how much is it really integrated in the day-to-day discussion and planning and decision making of an organization? I think it becomes a nice to have and not really an integral part of why are we here, and making sure that the what are we doing aligns with the what are we here to do. The same thing with the vision. The vision is all about the future of the organization. Where do you want the organization to be 20, 30, 40 years from now? Because everything that you do now should be trying to get you to that point. But a lot of times people think of vision statement's so fluffy. Why do we need a vision statement? Because it gives you that truly long-term view as to where a company should be going. Every step that you take along the journey every single day should be taking you towards that vision. And if it's not, then why are you doing it? The other part of that is the values. The values should be underlining everything that the organization does and how it conducts itself. It should be driving the people that it hires and making sure that everybody fits that model. So whatever those values are that leadership decides, like we want our company to represent these internally with each other and outside to our customers, to everyone that we interact with, this should be the model of behavior. Those values are extremely important. And again, they are considered to be fluff a lot of times when the organization should be living and breathing those values day in and day out.
So thank you for sharing that. So I know that everybody needs to align with, the core values and the vision and the mission, but whose role or responsibility it is, you think, to, keep it in a way that everybody aligns, everybody knows what they actually mean, and that the company is progressing in alignment with these? Is it the CEO? Is it somebody else?
It definitely needs to come from every level, right? Because it trickles down. So the CEO and all of the messaging, it should always take it back to the mission and the vision. And, why are we doing this? It's because it's going to help us achieve this. And how are we going to do it? It's going to be making sure that we do it, with these values in mind. Always bringing those key words and key phrases into the messaging is going to be the best way that a CEO can do that. And then that message trickles down through every single layer of people. And even thinking about, our performance evaluations that get done every year, hopefully more than just once a year, because every employee needs to know more than once a year how well they're doing in performance. It should all circle back to that as well. How well is an employee demonstrating the values of a company? So every single employee should be evaluated against the values every year as well. But it should always be in the messaging coming from top down.
Thank you for sharing that as well. And so what is the importance, in a more maybe a concrete or more visible way, the importance of alignment with vision, mission, and core values, and what are the risks if it is not aligned?
So your strategic plan, you're thinking 3 years out, and I know in the world that we're living in right now, very volatile, there's a lot of uncertainty going on. Things get more and more complex. Thinking more than 3-5 years out in definitive terms gets to be very tricky. So a lot of companies have, gone to just a 3-year plan, which is totally fine. But that 3-year plan still has that's a longer term than just the next quarter or even the next year. And there are a lot of things that take time to build up to it. It takes baby steps to achieve big goals. So, but those 3-year goals should still be taking you on the journey towards the vision. So if your vision is over here, but your 3-year goals are over here, then you're not going to ever achieve your vision. You're going in an opposite direction. So really, when you're having your strategic plan, you should always keep your mission and your vision top of mind. I was just recently facilitating a strategic planning session for a company, and we had one session where we went back and we looked at the mission and the vision of the company. We tweaked the mission because it has, the company has matured over the last few years. So we wanted to tweak the mission a little bit so it really resonated. And leadership has changed. So we wanted to have that resonate better. And the vision, and we kept those top of mind in front of us as we were brainstorming for 3-year goals, and making sure that it all comes back to that mission and the vision. If it's not going to take us there, it doesn't need to be a priority. It doesn't need to be on the radar. So that is definitely one piece. So when it comes to the risk to the organization, if leadership says that they want to be over here in the long term, and you're not thinking about that when you're doing strategic planning, where are you going? Are you harming the people that you want to be helping? Are you helping a totally different group of people that you didn't have listed? You get diverted, which means you end up being a bad steward of their funds. Regardless of whether or not you're a nonprofit, for-profit, publicly traded, privately owned, doesn't matter. Every company should still be a good steward of your money, and the resources that have been given to you. And so if your mission and your vision that's been communicated with your stakeholders is this, and yet you're over here doing this, they're going to question that you're using it. This isn't what I signed up for. And so investors, whoever they are that's giving you money, whatever, they're going to say, no, you're not doing what I signed up to do, what I signed up for this company to do. I'm getting my money back, and that will happen. So that, to me, that is a huge risk for any company. It doesn't matter what kind of company it is. The other part of that is your customers. A lot of times in this world that we are living in, very socially oriented, very a lot of eyes on an organization and their behaviors. That goes back to the values, right? If a company has their values posted on their website, and yet they're behaving in a totally different manner that is contradictory, they're not living up to their values, they're going to be called out on it pretty quickly nowadays. And so that hits to reputation, that hits to a lot of different pieces, customer satisfaction, all that kind of thing, about the company. So I'm not saying that a company should be hiding their mission, vision, values, because they shouldn't be held accountable. They should absolutely be held accountable. But it goes back to, if you're going to say that this is what you're doing, then you need to actually do it and have your plan and your actual behaviors follow that line.
Thank you so much for sharing that as well. So it is very clear to me that it is more important than what people think about them, as in the values, they all are more important than they might seem. So with that being said, then what can our audience maybe start implementing already, if you were to give a takeaway point that obviously, they should always be looking into implementing things or making sure they are, always aligned, but if they were to implement something or look into something right away, what would that be?
Go hunt down your organization, mission, vision, values, and go start talking to people and asking them, do you feel like we live up to this? Are we demonstrating these values? and start seeing, just an informal conversation would be the first step, before possibly bringing it up to leadership to say, I don't think that what we're saying is our mission and our vision are in alignment with our plan. And or great, those are in alignment, but our values are not being demonstrated. We've been criticized about this, yet we say our values are this. And also incorporate, are we incorporating this into our hiring process, our screening process for employees? Do we know that each employee is going to be a good fit to this? From a risk management perspective, that's all risk-based items. So you're talking your talent risk and making sure that you're hiring the quality people that you want to have that fit that values model, whatever those values are. Is the strategic plan aligned with the mission and vision? If it's not, you're talking reputation risk, you're talking investor risk, right? Because they may say, no, I'm pulling my money out. Or you could, have a lot of things happen when it comes to like activists, board members, that type of thing. So all of that being said, I think there's a lot of pieces that really come down to the risk elements. But when it comes to implementing, I would definitely agree with going and finding them, start having informal conversations, see what the consensus is across the board, and see whether or not the company is actually living up to what they say that they should be doing.
Thank you so much as well. I think that was a very important point to end on, unless you have something else to share with us.
No, it's been great talking with you. I love this the topic, because sometimes this is just a foundational element that so many people overlook, and it really does come down to the basics sometimes. And we get the basics right, then it puts us on a good foundation for moving forward as a company.
Thank you. Then on that end, then unfortunately we are at the end of our podcast, our time for today. So thank you so much for joining us once again. And it's always a pleasure to also always see your articles on our group, our website, and so on. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Take care.